Hey out there. This is Friday, June 10th, 2016, and it's just about quarter after 9 in the morning here in Northern California. And there was a lot of stuff I wanted to talk about today. Of course, I didn't get a chance to speak last week doing the Trump rally. I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Current events, a lot happening. Gorilla shot dead to save a little boy's life. Um, Muhammad Ali, aka Cassius Clay, passed. Uh, but mainly, what I want to, we got the Bilderberg meeting going on over in Germany, Dresden, Germany, right now. Henry Kissinger showed up. They expect top political leaders and bankster class type people, robber baron, New World Order cabal, is meeting up there, some of the top guys, and trying to, decide humanity's future, manipulate, decide how they're going to manipulate us and keep us down, keep us oppressed. I watch the Alex Jones channel a lot on YouTube, and you hear a lot of stuff. I know when I first started listening to Alex, he was big on this shattering the left-right paradigm, and this is something I wanted to talk about because I don't hear it too much anymore from him. But this was one of the hooks that got me listening to the show. And then whenever he'd get preachy, which is one of my favorite things that he does, he shuts himself down too often, but he's very good at preaching. But that was the other thing that really kept me watching the show, was just knowing that he was a devout man, and he loved Jesus, and he was hungering and thirsting for righteousness and very passionate and outspoken. So I've been listening to the show for probably about, going on about 10 years, I guess, now. About 2006, I guess, I started listening. But he's got a great bunch of reporters, super smart, super learned, super talented. And, sometimes, though, I have to disagree with some of the stuff I'm hearing on the show. And it's really hard because, when you like somebody a lot, you respect them a lot, you admire them a lot, you don't want to disagree with anything they say. But I do. And, we all have to kind of assume that position to where it doesn't matter sometimes if 99.999% of people disagree with you. The fact of the matter is you could still be right. So often we try to be popular, like me, and, I can't take sides in the left-right thing, okay? I want to bridge the misunderstanding that the conservatives and the liberals and the communists and the capitalists have with each other. I want to help people to understand why people are passionately communistic, why people are passionately capitalistic, why people are passionately conservative, why people are passionately liberal. And, point to the fact that we have a lot of common denominators. Commonalities, let's say. And this is what I believe we need to focus on. We need to say, look, are you on the side of humanity or aren't you? There's no middle ground. And one of the biggest issues I have is this thing with equality, this idea that, we always need to have an unequal monetary-based society where we've got this classism that goes on, and people are, you can either be an egalitarian and for the Constitution, this understanding that we were all created equal by God. We were endowed with, as equals to enjoy this planet and our short, brief time upon this planet. So, I think there's a lot of liberals that really embrace that idea. Libertarian, they're generous-minded. They're, inclined, a lot of these people, to be egalitarian. On the conservative side, I would say, well, their philosophy is different because they believe in caution and tradition and doing things by the book and more logically and matter of fact and they're known to be more fiscally prudent. Uh, but are they? That's the whole thing. Are either party on the right track? And I suggest no. We haven't. The last president that really understood economic stuff was JFK. And this whole controversy with sound currency is not discussed enough in these circles. Where they have this this great venue, this great audience, like Infowars, and they really need to get more economists on that can speak to this. And it doesn't matter, you see, if you're a conservative economist or a liberal economist. The fact is, if you're real and you really want to get to the bottom of things, you realize there's a decision you have to make. You see, you're either an egalitarian, which is you believe in equality, or you're an elitist to some degree. There's no middle ground. It's a whole by default thing. So if you say, well, yes, I prescribe to inequality, you've lost all standing in the argument of somebody else coming in on your side of it, that believes in inequality and saying, well, you believe the line should be drawn there, but you see, I think it'd be, wise to draw the line over here. So we have a whole lot more inequality. And that's what's been going on my whole life since the assassination of JFK. We all have to understand the economic aspect. Politics and economics go hand in hand, and politics are so big right now, and this has to be discussed. We've got to understand these things. So when it comes to economic policy, understanding that we're deceived, we're confused about basic principles, about what is fiscally prudent. I mean, it might be wildly unpopular, when I talk about buying people houses, but indeed, if I'm right and if it's fiscally prudent and therefore conservative, a conservative value, let's say, but others would say, oh no, that sounds super, hyper liberal. You're a wild-eyed, bleeding heart liberal, right, for suggesting such a thing. But you understand what I'm getting at here is that it makes sense. It is fiscally prudent and sound. It's saying, look, temporarily, your taxes would be high, but they're going down. If your currency is sound, your currency increases with worth. It's that simple. That is the evidence, okay, that you have sound currency if it is consistently going up in worth. And why on earth would that be so controversial to our overlords, our illegitimate overlords? Again, the Bilderberger class, the New World Order cabal, all these people, the royalty class, the Federal Reservists, all these people are involved in keeping humanity down. You understand why ending poverty is such an anathema. It's so controversial to these people. They hate it with a passion. And so they want to keep us confused. If you're confused about these issues, you are deceived. You're disempowered. And I myself know that I could be much more popular on my video blog if I just took a strong side. And I said, no, I can't stand those libtard communist, rats, okay? And just took the side of the liberals. Okay, I could be very popular amongst the liberals. I realize that, but that's not what I want to do. And conversely, I could do the same thing by taking the side of the liberals and just saying, you know what, those neocons, they're just a bunch of liars and cheaters and thieves, and they're corrupt, and go on about how bad they are, warmongers, all this kind of stuff, But both sides have been doing these things. They've both been taking us on a course of no return. They're etching our social ills in stone is what they're doing. They don't want them fixed. That's what we all have to understand. At the very top, they don't care what you are. They don't care if you have conservative views or liberal views. They don't care if you're a communist or a capitalist. They don't care. They just want to keep their position, their lot. These are bizarre, evil people, okay, that don't ever think about the fact that they're mortal and that they will someday answer to their creator, to their owner, for their beliefs. Why they think it's okay to do what they've done to humanity. For thousands of years they've been playing this game. The oppression is all carried out through money. This is why Jesus said this is the root of not some of the evil, all of the evil. It's the root of all our social ills. And until we understand this, we're not going anywhere. People are just stupid out there. I mean, they can be geniuses, but if they're deceived, if they're confused, they're dumb. They don't understand how they're being duped. They've got to understand that, why, you want sound money, why you want your currency to go up in worth and keep going up in worth, okay? Until what? You're free. All these words that we use, we just, are bandied about out there. Words like freedom, okay? Particularly that word gets me because I know Joe Biggs was up at this rally, InfoWars reporter, former staff sergeant, retired U.S. Army Joe Biggs was up there at the rally, and he interviewed not very many people, but one guy, and he kind of pulled a trick question on the guy, and he said, can you have, what do you want more, security or liberty, something, or freedom? And Joe was trying to catch the guy off balance, and he did, and the guy fumbled a little bit, and he hadn't thought about it. But this is an extremely subjective term. What are we talking about? What do you mean by freedom? If you're a dirt poor person that has nothing, okay, and you're out on the street, okay, and you keep getting rousted in the middle of the night and told, no, you can't sleep here. You keep pushing, and nobody tells you where you can sleep, where you can build a shelter, okay, because we all have a right to exist. I think we all have to fundamentally agree you have a right to exist. How is this in any way okay? How is that being Christian, okay? In any way you want to call yourself a Christian. How is this okay? You've got to allow a man to at least try to build a shelter, however rudimentary it is. I mean, Abraham Lincoln as a boy was homeless, and he squatted on some land, I guess, with permission and built a log cabin. I mean, look, folks, it's not immoral to be dirt poor, abjectly poor, okay? This is actually the opposite is true. If anything, if we were going to say somebody was immoral for being economically one way or the other, it'd be the rich. They got the hardest, row to hoe here when it comes to pleasing God and, being prepared to stand before their maker. But poor people can be wicked too if they're covetous. It's all what's in their heart. So don't get me wrong. And rich people, conversely, can be very good people. That's why it's written the way it is. Albeit it's harder for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to go to heaven. But it in no way says it's not possible. It says, but, these things are possible. With God, all things are possible. And about some of the stuff Trump is talking about, I saw him on CBS Sunday morning, or it was the show afterwards. I got a clip of him talking about the things he wants to do. And ending poverty is one of them. This man likes prosperity. And he spent his whole life proving it, by going out and making billions of dollars. And now he says, what, this is a bit vapid. Okay, I'm dissatisfied. And, and I feel like my conscience, which is your connection to God, is telling me I need to do more. This is basically it. I don't see him seeing the presidency as a pursuit of the ego. I see it more as a pursuit of conscience, that this man is real, that he sees what's going on. He understands, sound currency, although he doesn't talk about it much because he wants to do things, I believe, stealthily. The man is obviously very intelligent, and he's watching his, P's and Q's, although he says some things you got to wonder about at the rally. But he's standing out there in the sun. It's well over 100 degrees. He's got nothing over him. Everybody was scrambling for any shade they could find out there at the rally. But yet they didn't provide anything for him. He's standing out in the sun there in Redding, California at over 100 degrees. And I've lived in Redding. I was married there in 1984. I conceived my first daughter in Redding. I have a great affinity for the area. It's a beautiful area. But I know how damn hot it can get, and that can affect your thinking, okay? And for him to, make some crack, African American, he wants to show he understands the politically correct terminology for a black man.